I'm Regina Santos, Brazilian from Rio de Janeiro. I work as an associate lighting designer, head of the lighting department at Gardner Nelson Johnson here in Dubai. How I got into lighting is kind of a funny story because it's a long process. I started with industrial design in Rio, product design. I always worked with architecture after I graduated in industrial design. And at some point, doing different projects for different companies, for different architects, I started to feel the need for something more. I did a year and a half of history of art and architecture, and but still being inspired as I was, it still something was missing. I would not be able to sign a project from there. Then I decided to actually go back and study architecture. And in the middle of the course, I was already introducing lighting in my projects, and I went to São Paulo for this conference on lighting design, and that's actually when I got blown away by lighting and all the lighting could do. Actually, two people that were very critical in that decision was one was Kai People, the other was Gustavo Aviles from Mexico. So both of them really, their work, it struck me in a way that I was really blown, and I decided there and then that that's what I was going to do. So I basically filed my inscription to KTH in Stockholm, and as soon as I finished my architectural course, I flew to Stockholm to do my master in lighting design. At Gage we have a lot of hospitality projects, but it's an interdisciplinary company, so Gardner Nelson Johnson Architects. It's basically an architectural company, but we have also the MEP team, ID team, FF&E team, and since 3 years ago, from April 2016, we opened the Light and Design department. So I was invited to come and join to open the department. So it has been quite a ride, quite interesting. When I first joined, I had a combined, how can you say, I received resources from the MEP team, but that was quite interesting because they do the lighting circuiting in a completely different way. We do lighting control groups, not circuiting. And at some point, sharing resources was not working. I really needed to grow the department. And so I just said, no, now we really need to grow and to develop. So we're still a small team, but it's a very driven and focused and dedicated team. I love them. And we have the possibility to expand when we need to. So sometimes we use visualizers from architecture, from the ID department, or from graphics department, and we always coordinate everything in-house. And that gives us like an immense possibilities, like from pre-concept and concept, where we are actually bringing the lighting ideas and details into the renders, to the schematic and detail design, where we are inbuilding those lights into the proper joinery details, architectural reveals, and even asking them to modify their details to include the lighting, because in the end we want to be able to create the atmosphere. So to have those inbuilt already in the drawings or in the midst of the coordination exercise, that is amazing, because then we managed to have already a package going out that is fully coordinated and in line with the design intent and the ideas that we have. I think there is no atmosphere, no architectural space that does not benefit from lighting. And you can have a beautiful piece of architecture, but without lighting, it's an envelope. You need to live within it. You need to experience it, and you do that through lighting. So you can have something amazing looking horrendous with a bad lighting, or you can make even the simplest of spaces look most beautiful and astonishing just through the lighting and the atmospheres. It's about the experience of the space. Today we're very much exposed to blue light that is proven to affect our rhythm, our circadian rhythm, and delay the release of melatonin. And when we have the peak of melatonin, it actually ends up to be in the morning, where we're supposed to be like fully awake and alert, and then we're drowsy, you're having issues sleeping, you don't know if you have insomnia or not, like not necessarily talking about myself, but in general. So we are affecting ourselves very much with the way that LEDs are being introduced to the spaces. So I wanted to understand the circadian rhythm and understand more of how that affects us and how now the importance of not using blue light. So, but I hadn't really gotten to the core of it. So, talking to my osteopathic doctor, he made a recommendation of this book as Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. And that really was an eye-opener because it gives you, in a very funny and easy way, all the fundamentals of how light affects our system. And actually light is like half of 2 chapters, but the rest is really about, describing the circadian rhythm, describing how it works on our body and the negative impacts that we have of actually not sleeping and having delayed sleep times because of even our exposure to blue light and even the light intensity that we're exposed to. So, and in the end, he even makes a recommendation about, okay, you cannot put the technology genie back in the bottle, but we can use that genie to actually improve the way on how we use technology and light itself to our own benefit and to our health improvement. Can have a lighting control on your phone, on an app, and all of this can make things more flexible and even pre-programmed to give us the benefit of the technology. I think it's really important to not only hear what is being said, but to go to the source of the information and to research more and have access to that research. So even sharing the information is very important. There are different spaces that we can create, like experience spaces. Today you have a museum in Japan only for like the interactive experience that actually it's all projection mapping, but you're interacting with it and you have feedback from it. So if you can create that in spaces as well, and at the same time you can have the dynamic space and the calm Zen meditative space for whomever needs calm and peace or wants to meditate. Today, the user interface and the user-driven experience of what can you do in different areas, how can you combine that in a space that is that can be not flexible but can morph according to the user, and that you can create something completely new. So what if we took that out of a museum and actually applied that to space and to an art gallery and to an exhibition space, to an opera house, and to hospitality and to landscape. So today there are so many new things that are being developed and created, but yes, you need the budget for that. Well, I think in different phases of your professional life, you have different experiences, and each one of them is important. So when I did my thesis, it was actually the Viareggio, the promenade of Viareggio, a city in Italy, and it was a real project. And I did the whole promenade and the whole like urban hierarchy of the lights like project on my own as a thesis, and that for me was challenging and exciting. So that as an academic project, it was like my real first lighting project, which was really amazing. But after that, in the real professional world, my first challenge was the New York University in Abu Dhabi. That is like 38 buildings merged into one. And it was the first large-scale project that I was a project manager for in lighting and doing the lighting with my director. So that was a thrill. That was extremely exciting, and to see such a large, complex project being done. And it was a beautiful, amazing project. And then the DeWa Solar Innovation Center, because that is, I was already head of lighting design at Ted Jacob Engineering Group. And the whole scope of the project being a different project, not hospitality, not residential, not commercial, but actually an exhibition space done to explain to people what is energy, from solar energy to other things. So that was amazingly exciting, and I'm really proud of that project. And the last one is the Warner Brothers Hotel, because that was extremely fun. It was super creative, like from putting, the gobo and projecting the bat logo on the bed and and the Superman sign on the wall and all of that. All of those VE'd by the project manager, of course. But the whole process of working with creative people, like the Warner Brothers team that came and were like supervising, the look and feel of the space, and being able to bring all of the superheroes and the characters of all the movies together to create a space that had that flair and that kind of feel and excitement. And it was a long, hard project on its own, because in the end, when you pass the concept and you're down to the detailing, like the coordination was a long process, but it was beautiful. It was a very exciting project. I'm looking forward to seeing it finalized and built. So being away from my family has been an enormous challenge, because I do miss them very much, and they're a huge part of my life. And it's not easy to be away from home for over a decade, and going back and forth like once a year. Like I managed to go like twice in a year when my dad was not doing so well at a point, and this year like my mom was coming like every other year, and this would be the year that she would be coming, and the fact that she cannot come anymore, it hurts a bit. And to see them, like grow older, and you not being there for every occasion, for Easter, for, the Mother's Day and Father's Day, and to every other, like, it seems like small occasions, but, they're like, it's about the family and the gatherings. So these are, I think, important in many ways. So I do talk to them often. I try to call them every week. But still, it's hard. That has been a challenge to be away from them, definitely. Well, as I said before, Caipipa and Gustavo Avilés were two of them, because they were like my initial view of what lighting is doing, like internationally, what lighting design is. And I remember Kai was showing a sculpture that weighed tons, and it looked like it was floating in midair. Like the way it was lit, it was beautifully done, and it was literally floating. And besides all of the other things that he showed and the things that he talked about, Gustavo, he was talking even about the spiritual side of lighting, how lighting was designed, like that the meter, like 1 meter was actually 1 meter of light, like in old time Mexico, building the pyramids in Mexico and all of that. And the poetry that they put into it and the way that they were portraying it was very inspiring to me. Then women-wise, Anne Bureau and Suzanne Antico are two women that have inspired me by their vulnerability, their professionalism, the capability of showing the project, but not only the pretty picture, but what is behind that, all of the process behind it, okay, the aiming, the climbing the ladder, like the things that happen on site, and also all the things that the project brings along. So I think that their generosity on sharing their experience in their presentations and in the conference, it has been very, very inspiring as well. Now, I would not need to mention Jan Ahad, because he's like my mentor, and Jan and Agneta are my 2 points of reference in Stockholm during the master, and they have been incredibly inspiring. So yeah, I think there is quite a list of people, but they have been very influential for me. I think we learn things every day. So to be open to learn more, and to embrace the challenges that lighting brings at the everyday, the challenges that the projects bring to us every day is very important. But lighting will always be inspiring, because We live under it. We need to light the spaces. And I always get excited with new projects. It's like, okay, I can be swamped, but then a new project comes and I'm like, oh, we could do this and we could do that. And, it's all about the creative process of how you're making the atmospheres happen and making the spaces come true, and what else, what new you could bring to that, to make it exciting, to make it different, to make it inspiring. So I think lighting will always be inspiring. It was really funny at a dinner. It was like just this informal conversation, and the CEO of this company was talking about his wife, and he mentioned like how he is bringing women to his company as in more leading positions, and how that was important because he saw the boardroom with all men, and like where are the women, like the addresses to board, to the board of a company, or to the high level executives are all gents, and and no women are present, but also because they never get promoted. So there's a level of the mentality of men that needs to change, that women are capable to achieve senior positions and leading positions in any kind of profession. So I think this is one point of the mentality, the paternalistic mentality, that needs to be changed. At the same time, I think that women sometimes being either more shy or more willing to either adjust or be flexible to the demands of the other professionals, either the clients or the project manager, and all of that makes them not be heard as much as they could be. So sometimes even one of the partners was saying like, you need to make a statement, and sometimes I do that in the sense that, okay, when I see something wrong, you need to say that it's wrong. It's not, okay, oh no, but no, that is wrong. You cannot do that. It's as simple as that, like not being afraid to speak out, not being afraid to say what you believe and to say what a project actually needs, not being afraid to contradict someone that is in a higher position than you, because in the end, we're all here to sum our energy and our ideas and our force to create something new, to create something good and positive. So there's no point in being afraid to speak up. You need to speak up. You need to get out there and put out what you actually believe. And this is what I think more women can actually do. They know that they can do that, but also being recognized for what they're doing, and then being given the opportunity to do it. Be brave, be kind, be courageous, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like, we need to learn from the mistakes. Don't be afraid to speak up and to speak out and to put out your ideas. We need to embrace the challenges that we're given, so there's no point in being shy. We need, even when you have a little tingling in the stomach because something is new or something is oversized and you have very little time to do it, it's embracing it. It's going out and doing what you believe you can do, and even what you don't know you can do. You just need to put yourself out there and get on the ride and enjoy it and do it, and get your voice out there as well.